financial literacy, knowledge is a
I just wanna be free with my people to prosper and hold it down. Don't you sit and wait, contemplating on a revolution. The time is now. I just wanna be free. 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 Can't you see? I just wanna be free.
Okay. Another episode of the Things I Wish I Knew About Money podcast. Folks, my bad. It's Camille. I am late, but it's okay. There's a reason why we're late, okay? There's always a reason to the method of my madness. But as y'all know, last week was like the biggest thing that happened in the financial literacy world with EYL and Investfest. And obviously, you guys know I was not there, but I had to make sure me brought someone that was there and was able to, give the heat of what happened and just uncover some gems. So we're returning with Dale. Me and Dale linked up since like what, April? So pop. So it's an honor for you to come back to the stage and just bless everyone. And I had to represent.
Yes. Consistency is key. That's a fact.
Right? So Dale, what is up? How's things been since we last spoke? And it was like what? Episode 125. And look how it's like I think it's 144? Jeez.
Yes, it's moving just like that.
Right? And I just wanted to give you a shout out because as you guys see, this hoodie, Dale is like one of the guys that I've seen that is very consistent on what he's doing. He's making sure EYL recognizes him. I should put the post up of like them like shouting you out and even 19 Keys having your hoodie on. I was like, yo, that's big. So
Yeah,
big up
man.
yourself to bless the stage again.
No, it's happy. I'm glad to be here. It's like I always like we can link up and do stuff, and
Yes.
and be a voice and inside when possible to certain things because I'm out here. I'm outside.
You're outside indeed. and since I guess we'll just in case for the folks that haven't seen episode 125 yet, let them know who you are, sir. Just so they know in the comments.
Okay. So yeah, my name is Dale. I have a brand that my friend helped me start. She does my design and stuff. The Black Wealth Collective. See it there. And basically, I had this idea to start this brand because I noticed that we had a lot of stuff popping in the city in little pockets, but we haven't really been working together to make things bigger like how they do in the US. And it was kind of glaring when Earn Your Leisure came over to our city and had everybody show up, people I never even heard of in our city doing stuff. So I decided that I need to figure out a way to kind of bridge that together. So I do a lot of shouting people out, networking, trying to link people together, and just to bring more visibility to all the talent and all the great things we have going on in the city. Because there's a lot of, whether you know it or not, we got Black real estate developers, construction company owners, law office owners, CPA, like anything you can think of. We have people in our city doing it, but I just find like for some reason we're not as aware of it in all of the different circles collectively. So I think our
That
main
is so true.
our main focus should be collaboration because we can do way bigger things together. So that's why it's the Black Wealth Collective, because collectively it will be easier for us to grow our Black wealth. So that's pretty much
Absolutely.
what I'm about.
Big up yourself, Dale. And thank you for announcing that because it's true. Like there's so much of us that are, I think we talked about it before, like there's so many different pockets, whether it's real estate, CPAs, and all that good stuff. And it would be lovely for all of us to come together. And I definitely see you repping and giving shout outs. Like I thought I was good at giving shout outs, but nah, you're on a different level. Like I'm like, yo, Dale's like in it, and also like, when life happens, you do take a break, but you were still in it. So like I really appreciate that, and you always check in and all that stuff. So I want to give you your flowers at the same time, right?
Much
Because
appreciated.
mm,
But
because it's when life is lifing, but you're able to still collaborate and show love to others. It's so needed, especially in our country as
yep,
well.
yep, for sure. It's the bigger picture, and it's like I know
Mm,
there's a lot of platforms like you have different podcasts or different people that are on social media and they look like they're big or whatever, but it's like that's cool. I'm not saying that they're not, but
yeah.
I find like for me, I like to kind of be that person too, like not just be like, okay, I'm this guy online and this is what I say, but then I'm not actually doing it. And then obviously
Mhm.
as we'll get into, like definitely being genuine and just being yourself, and it brings you real far, trust me. And we'll get into it, but I can attest to how far just being myself and actually really wanting to help
Mhm.
people or really wanting to share, just really being a genuine stand-up person that's like coachable and can take criticism and can
Yeah.
execute and stuff like that, like the stuff that's very simple, but again just being consistent and doing it, it brings you so far. So it's like I want to just have this more of just showing love, and because like I said, there's so much people in the city doing stuff, and it's like I've been a benefit of that love as well, because
Yes.
I feel like you get back what you put out. So I always show love and support, and then it just
Absolutely.
mysteriously comes back to you in ways that you weren't even thinking about, but it just makes for good stories.
Right? And I know the best story that you have. Well, okay, so here's the thing. For the folks that don't know, like what? You helped me break the ice during I was almost gonna say Labor Day because it is Labor Day weekend, but Caravana weekend. So I had an abnormal Caravana weekend, but I was able to go to the M2M and EYL networking event. And if it wasn't for you, I would have been like, I'm so shy, I don't know what to do.
It's
You're
too
like,
funny.
nah, just go, like, just check.
Just go
What
be
is it?
yourself.
Yeah, be yourself and just check out folks. And I think it's Create Wealth Network.
Yep.
He was there like doing his thing, like
Yep.
like at EYL's tour. And I was like, dang, this is a good idea. I was like, why not? Let me just
Yep.
pop up in, right?
Yep.
Which helped us go to M2M's Dane's 30th birthday. Big up.
Daniel. Yep. Daniel.
Daniel, sorry.
Yep. Daniel.
My bad. Daniel, 30th birthday. So big up to him as well. And we were just able to see each other, and we were like really hyped because you said you're about to go to Investfest. And I was like, oh my gosh, I'm
Yep.
so excited for you. What is the game plan? And your game plan was epic. So when did you leave? You left like, did you
I
leave the
left
Friday or the Thursday night?
I left last Wednesday, and I got
Okay.
down. Yeah, I got down there basically. I was there during the day last week Thursday, so I touched on there like last week Thursday. The
Okay.
event was Friday, Saturday, Sunday,
Mm.
but even leading up to that, so it's funny you bring up Daniel. So before I even get even into InvestFest, I want to big shout out to M2M and Daniel and Twee and
Mm.
M5V and Sherrard and Priscilla and all those people, because the week leading up to that, so on the
Yes.
Monday, I get a
Mm-hmm.
call. On the Monday, no, I get a message on the Monday, and it's
Yes.
Daniel. He's
Yeah.
like, yo, I have a booth at Investfest. He's like, yo, you have any merch left? And I'm like, yeah, I have some
Oh,
merch. I'm like, I have
yeah.
some merch. He's like, yo, come through, yo. He's like, bring the merch at the booth. Don't worry, just come through. And so I'm like, what? So this is completely unexpected, whatever, last minute. So I'm like, okay, bet, say less. Because one thing I learned from the
Mhm.
previous story, like if you guys didn't see, we'll probably post it somewhere. I had a situation where I basically met the founder of Earn Your Leisure, and then that turned into its whole own thing. But I remember basically his main point was there's no tomorrow, there's only
Mhm.
today, so never let an opportunity go by. I always act on it right away. So at first when he's like, come to the booth, like in my mind, I'm like, I'm not ready for that because I'd want to have this, 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 and this. And I was like, you know what? Forget about it. I was like, say less.
Say
So then I
less,
go, I'm
yes.
like trying to figure out how I'm gonna get the clothes there and all this stuff, and it's like $500 to ship a box of T-shirts and all this madness, and I'm like, I'm not doing that. So then it kind
Golly.
of discouraged me, and I was like, you know what? I appreciate the opportunity, but I don't know how I'm gonna make this work. And he's like,
Mhm.
yo, he's like, don't let that be the reason that stops. He's like, yo, I'll put it in my car and bring it for you, like all these different things. But I'm like, I didn't want to go through the trouble. So anyways, long
Mhm.
story short, I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna find out a way, I figure out a way to do it. So I ended up just basically packing up all the merch into the
Yeah.
car, and then me and my sister just drove down. So we just drove down, and we're like, whatever happens at the border happens. But I was like, I'm just taking the leap because I know it will be a good opportunity or whatever. So again,
Yeah.
that's kind of how it all kicked off. So shout out to M2M. And then funny enough as well, the next day after that,
Mhm.
I get a call from, I don't know if you guys are familiar with Frazul, but there's a guy in the city, very
Okay.
low key, but he's basically the plug for EYL. So when EYL comes to Canada and all of
Mhm.
those appearances on Breakfast TV and CP24 and going to the
Okay.
OVO Center and all this stuff, like he's basically the plug in the city, but he's very low key. So I just happened to be very observant and kind of noticed him. And then
Yeah.
anyway, one day he DM'd me saying, "Yo, fam, I need a hoodie, whatever, whatever." And I'm like, "Don't worry, I got you, I got you." And then I
Yeah.
left my number because again, he's very mysterious, so he didn't want to meet up. He was like, "I'll get a guy that can get the
Oh
hoodie
my
and
gosh.
whatever." So, anyways, long story short, on the Tuesday now
He's
before,
like 007.
yeah,
007 type of
007,
thing.
man, but he's great guy, solid guy, and I think you're gonna see him more and get to know his story because some stuff's are in the works. But yeah. So long
Nice.
story short, I get a call from a random NY number on Tuesday, and it's him, and I'm like, okay, what's going on? Anyways, had a nice conversation. Ended up talking
Mhm.
for like 45 minutes. It was dope or whatever, and
Yeah.
mind you, he's plugged in, like he knows Troy, Rashad, 19 Keys, like he's plugged in with these guys or whatever.
Gosh.
So he's like,
Mm.
yeah, when you touch down, just make sure they hit me up or whatever. This is my number, lock it in. So I'm like, all right,
Nice.
cool. So fast forward now, we hit Atlanta. And again, I've never been to Investfest before, so I didn't really know
Mhm.
what to expect just based on what I saw. I'm like, okay, it's gonna be dope. A lot of people, they had a lot of big speakers. So, and I love Atlanta. It's like a second home. If you haven't been, you guys definitely should check out ATL.
Yes,
So,
yes, yes. Big up ATL.
yep. So get down there and I'm very intentional. So for the whole week and I have my whole plan, I'm gonna always have the merch on every day. Like I didn't care what kind of club it was, how dressed up people were gonna be or whatever. I'm like, I'm gonna have my merch and I'll just keep it
Mm.
fly with some shoes and whatever to kind of go around the t-shirts or whatever. So first night I'm there, I make sure to go to Alex Good Energy is another guy that kind of runs with the EYL circle. He's big down there in
Mhm.
the trucking game. He has a lounge in Atlanta, like a hookah lounge, a very dope spot. He has a reggae night, Afro beats night or whatever. So I'm very intentional. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go to his spot, make sure to take pictures in the place. I'm gonna tag him up or whatever because he was one of the people that in Michael's story was wearing my merch as well because I'd given him
Nice.
some merch when he was in Toronto, right?
Hmm.
So this is all just planting seeds, and just staying consistent. So anyways, I
Absolutely.
go to his club or whatever, tag him or whatever. He reposted, cool. So then
Yeah.
Friday now. they did something real dope, which is they opened the marketplace to the public for free. So on Friday, before the event started, anybody
Mm-hmm.
from the public could go into the vendor marketplace to shop, see what was there to offer or whatever. So Friday got there, met up with Daniel at M2M, and he's
Yeah,
like, "Yo, there's the racks. Put out your clothes, do your thing or whatever." Like he let
that's
me
dope.
basically take up the whole booth with my clothes or whatever. Like
Mm-hmm.
nothing but love. And again, that was just from being myself, always showing love, sharing content, tapping in, like, making sure to like be engaged and always support whatever they're doing. And that's another thing I want people to know is like support isn't always like what you can do for someone with money or a monetary investment. Like support is many different things. Support is sharing a post. Support is tagging somebody. Support is if you're in a room with someone and you think that they may be able to work with someone giving them that referral. Like that is all support and that's all free support on top of it.
Well,
And that's something
well,
we need to start doing.
I need you to say that again. I need you to say it to the people in the back.
It costs nothing for you to support somebody that's doing something good. It doesn't take nothing from you but a couple of seconds, and it can make all the difference. And you never know what that might foster and what it can grow. Even if you don't have anything to gain from it yourself, you never know. And trust me, I'll start to go into the story and how this stuff snowballs.
Yeah.
But believe me, I can tell you firsthand, these little things that you do over time, it's recognized and real recognize real. The real ones are
Eh,
gonna recognize what you're doing and they're
yes.
not gonna forget it and they will acknowledge it. So don't be a hater. Don't be one of those people that like see something and like, yeah, that's dope, and then you don't want to share it because you don't want to make it seem like you're riding somebody or you're whatever. Like we need to dead all of that in our community. There's a lot of
Exactly.
dope people. We're all
Hmm.
doing different things. What I'm doing doesn't take food out of your mouth and vice versa. If anything, we can work together and get more food for both of us. So I think that's
Exactly.
one of the main things
Collaboration.
we need to stop in the city. um, but yeah, anyways, I said all that to say, so I get down there,
Hmm.
put all the stuff in the booth or whatever, and right away, like just when I got to the convention center, like the
Yeah.
energy was crazy because the line was stupid to
Pop up,
even
pop up.
register, like an hour long basically to even get to register. But again, you're seeing all of these lovely melanated people wearing their own brands, like all kind of like dope stuff, like from the gate. So I'm like, it's gonna be a good weekend or whatever. And then
Nice.
finally get in there and then
Hmm.
start studying myself, and decide I had a goal. It was a very ambitious goal, let me tell you, but what I wanted to do was
Hmm.
be able to go to every vendor. I wanted to meet every single vendor
Hmm.
and give them like a 30 to 60 second like video, like just basically who you are, what's your brand about, and how people can contact you. So my plan was I wanted to do that for every vendor, and then I would take the time to repost it, tag Investfest, tag Earn Your Leisure, and I was
Hmm.
like, my thought was if we do enough of that, sharing each other's business, it would give everybody more exposure because EYL and
That
Investfest
makes
keep
sense.
getting hit with tags. So
So,
Mhm.
question:
Yeah.
how many vendors were there?
421, I think it ended up being, which I didn't know there were that much. At first, I thought it was
Yeah.
150. At first, I
Yeah.
thought it was 150. Then what was dope? They created an app for InvestFest. So InvestFest had its own app, so you could go in
Yeah.
there, see the schedule, see all the
Jeez.
vendors. I'm
Yeah.
counting through the vendors. I count like 375, and I'm like, what? And then later on, I found out like the actual number was like 421 or something like that.
Wow.
So
So
needless
wait.
to
So wait. So that's like you have 425 content alone.
literally,
And
like literally,
yeah.
if you could get through it. But so I'm here to
Hmm.
tell you, I did not get through that content. I did not. Like it was shout out to my sister Catch Car here, that's her handle. She went down with me and she was like shooting content for me while I was talking, and she was holding me down.
Nice.
She was rocking the merch. She was like helping me out the entire weekend, as well as building and doing her own networking as well, because she's a big networker and does
Yes.
events and stuff. So shout out to my little big sis. Um, but yeah,
Aww.
so we
Support the things.
yeah, so I'll preface everything. I ended up getting through maybe 50 vendors at most out of the
Oh shit.
400. So I
Yeah.
came in like, yeah, I'm gonna go 30 seconds, whatever. The reality was, so you're getting the inside scoop. The reality was
Yeah.
there were so many dope vendors,
Yeah.
and plus the 20,000 attendees, that what happened was you'd be walking and then just
Hmm.
start talking to people. So there was no just going 30 seconds,
Shit.
record 30
Shit.
seconds,
Yes.
because the connections were so organic and the energy was so real. You might talk to a vendor for 15 minutes. You might talk to a vendor for 20
Uh,
minutes because you just click, and then they start to tell you about their story and why they started the brand and about their family and their sacrifices. Like, and it just turned into like a whole other organic thing that you could never plan for. So I was
true.
fine with it. I was fine with it because honestly, that's another thing I'll say about Investfest. Like, they bill everything with, like, Diddy's there and Steve Harvey and Robert Smith and all that stuff, Jeezy, which is dope because there was a lot of powerful speakers. But
Yeah.
for me personally, I
Hmm.
found that the dopest part of Investfest was like in the marketplace and then
Okay.
just walking around meeting people, because it was like those people are who they are. They've already made it. They're billionaires. They're multimillionaires, and you can
Talk
definitely
the
learn
things.
from them.
Talk the
But the
things.
real sauce was in meeting the person next to you. Like,
Yes.
and I think they spoke about that even when they came to the networking event here. Rashad spoke about exactly networking across, and how the people that are next to you will probably be more benefit to you than the people on
Hmm.
stage, because like you're in proximity. Like, it's easy to work with someone that's next to you. So for me, the value was really in meeting all the vendors and hearing their stories and connecting with people that are like, oh, I like what you're doing, and then exchanging stuff and
Yeah.
making plans outside of InvestFest. So to me, if you're gonna go, not if, you need to go. Let me rewind.
Bam.
First of all, first things first. If you're about business, entrepreneurship, blackness, melanin, community, high level vibrations, any of that kind of stuff, you have to go to InvestFest. There's no other place in the world where you're going to be with 20,000 like minded people, beautiful people that look like you, that can help you in some way, whatever issue or
Hmm.
problem or information you're looking for, someone there has it. You just have to be intentional and find it, because there are people there that do credit, do financing, do mortgaging, real estate, development, marketing, branding, um, writers, people that own bookstores, people that owned all types of scrubs and hygienic stuff, health, spirit, like anything that you could ever want in your black world, it's there. So that's number one. So if you're serious about any of that kind of stuff, it's a place that you have to go. You have to experience what it's like to be in that energy, like where
Yeah.
it's just your own people, everybody's doing something dope or trying to do something dope. Everybody's open to a conversation. Everybody's open to learn from the next person, or at least listen to what you have going on. Anybody I follow on Instagram, I
Yeah.
met or saw, from the Neil Davises to the Him 500s to the Troys, the Rashads, the Ians, anybody that's on Instagram that's
Yeah.
making moves in the financial space that are black, were there, and you could walk up to them, you could get a picture, you could ask a question. If you were intentional and smart enough, you could get a full conversation out of them, you could get an interview out of them. Like, it was
True.
unlimited potential to do stuff and level up. So that's first before any of this other stuff.
The
If you haven't
reason
been,
why I
you
look
gotta
like
go.
this, the reason why I'm doing this is because I'm cheese. Because I was like, yo, I should have just went
Should have
next year.
just went. And the thing
Next
is,
year.
you just never know. I know a lot of people are like, oh, it's a $300 ticket, it's a $250 ticket. I knew people that ended up having tickets that they could have that I know some people that showed up there that literally had their tickets given to them. But again, you have to be
Wow.
tapped in. Like M2M had tickets that they gave away to people. M5B
MV
had tickets that,
M5B, yes.
yeah, that they're giving away to people, or they were doing a thing where they're charging 250 Canadian, so you don't have to pay the 300 US. So it's like, don't just
Yeah.
be like, oh, I don't have the money, I can't do it. Like, stay locked into everything, and then just
Right?
look for opportunities. And what I've
That's
found
true.
about, I've been lucky to be able to be hanging around with some of these people for a little bit now because of, again, just
Mm,
from being genuine and putting myself in the room, and then being a student and whatever the case may be. And I found what I realized about being around successful people is
mhm.
that if you're open to what they are giving you, like basically if you listen
Yeah.
and they see that you will actually take action and you're not wasting their time, they will just start giving more and more and
Mm,
more and more. Like, these are people that don't have a lot of time. Their time is very valuable. So when they do take, and again, I'm not trying to put anybody on a pedestal. Like, we're all equal as far as like humans go, but the fact of the matter is, no matter how you want to take it or not, there's some people that got the bag and are doing what you wish you were doing, and there's some people that just aren't there yet, and that's just life. So when
yeah.
you see these people that are actually doing it, and they'll take a moment out to say something or drop a gem here or there, don't just take it as, oh, they're just talking, it's easy for them to say. If there's something they let you know that you can take action on,
Mhm.
take the action, they will
Yeah.
notice. They will notice. Even if you don't think they notice or they're watching, they notice. So I'll tell you, prime example, and we're gonna
Mhm.
be all over the place like last time,
No,
but
we're not. We're
it
doing it. We're
all it
doing
all
it.
ties in. It all
Experience.
ties in. So how I ended up even getting a call from Daniel at M2M to even do this, or introduction to the co-founder of Earn Your Leisure, was just from being online. I
Mhm.
like what they're doing. I love the content they're putting out. And what did we say before? It's free to show love and to support. So I always make sure to share stuff, comment on things, just engage. If I watch one of their podcasts that I thought was dope, I'll share it, tag it, whatever. So they're starting to see my name pop up all the time because they're like, yo, this guy's always showing so much love. So what happens now? There's a whatever, a mixer or a networking event, whatever you want to call it. I make
Yeah.
sure I pull up. I know they're gonna be there. I make sure to pull up, and I
Yes.
pull up with the intention of, I need to make an introduction because I've been talking to
Mhm.
them online. Let me make an introduction. I'm not too cool where I'm gonna be like, okay, let me just lay back and whatever. I'm like, no, I have a plan and something that I want to come to fruition, so I'm just gonna be actionable. So Daniel, it was a couple of events ago. I happened to finally see him, so I was like, made sure to go up, introduce myself. Right away, what did he say? I know you. I know who you are because I make sure I'm wearing the brand, and that's another thing. If you have a brand, don't be afraid to wear your brand. Like, always wear your brand. Your brand is part of you. And when you're starting out, you're the only representative for your brand. You can't expect other people to be promoting and shouting from the rooftops for your brand. It's you're all that you got. So I make sure to always have my brand so people attach the brand to me. So right away he's
Mm,
like, yeah, I know you. He's like, I know who you are. And he's like, yeah, this guy's always showing love. And it was like nothing but love from that point. And he's like, yo, we're locked in. Take my number. Because again, I'm not asking for nothing. I was just like, I'm just introducing myself. I see you have some
mhm.
developments. I'd love some more information. I was asking advice, like, someone that doesn't have any real estate, what would you say would be the best move to make, or how did you get started? Like, stuff that's in their
Yeah.
field, and that's good information to know. And again, he gladly sat down and told me how he got started. And again, not to tell his story,
Mhm.
but when you think you can't get into real estate, this guy's 30 years old, just finished a 56 unit
Mm.
project in Niagara, and is about to break ground on a 175 unit, 8-story building in Niagara. 30 years old. How did he start? Him and his friend put together to buy like a
Mhm.
$300,000 condo. So no pride, no ego, like, oh, I'm gonna have to go with a man and whatever, whatever. They said, no, we need to get into real estate. And that was their easiest entry,
Yeah.
was to get a
Yeah.
pre-construction, what they could afford. And then from there they built from
Nice.
that. So that
Mhm.
idea of I can't afford it, whatever, I see pre-constructions in Niagara right now that are 400K, 450K. Deposit structures are like 5K, 10K, 10K. You have the money. Whether you think
Mm-hmm.
you don't or not, if you're intentional, you have the money. So that's
That's
another
true.
story for
That
a
is
real estate
very true.
person. But anyway, so I make sure,
Yes.
engage and we talk. And then he's like, don't worry, we're locked in. Took the number. All right, cool. And then I just continue from
Yes.
there. Always posting, making sure to tap in, ask questions, engage on stuff. And then so the same thing with M5V, with Sherrard and Priscilla, same kind of thing. So I happened to
Yeah.
see EYL came here for a brunch, Caravana
Mm-hmm.
weekend, and Sherrod was actually there, and I'd never met him in person. So we'd been talking online for a couple of months, but never met him in person. I walk around
Yes.
the
I remember.
corner. Yeah, I
Mm-hmm.
walk around the corner, I see Sherrod. So I'm like, yo, all right, I have to introduce myself again, just being very intentional. So I walk up to it and I'm like, hi, Mr. McQueen. Just introducing myself, and he's like, hey, who are you? What do you do? And I just turned my sleeve and showed him the logo. Sorry, this side my camera's backwards. Showed him the logo, and he's like, oh, it's my guy. I know who you are. Oh, you're always showing love. This guy's always showing love. He's like, yo, I need to introduce you to someone. And I'm like, okay. Who does he walk me over to? Michael J. McDonald, co-founder of Earn Your
Gee.
Leisure. He walks me right over to me. He's like, yo, this is my guy. He's doing things in the city. He's always showing love. He has his clothing brand he started. It has a dope message. So he's
Yeah.
basically now pitching me to the co-founder of Earn Your Leisure. And then so I'm like, yeah, this is why I started it, whatever the case may be. And he's like, okay, that's
Mm-hmm.
dope. And then he's like, this is who you need to meet though. And then so he introduces me to his brother. His brother is the
Uh-huh.
one that manages all of the merch for Earn Your Leisure. So
Okay.
he's like, he
Yeah.
controls all the merch and clothing. So you could learn a lot from him. So you need to meet him. So he introduced me to him and he's like, nice to meet you, whatever the case may be. So then what Michael posted about the story he's sharing was basically, I'll just paraphrase it because you guys need to go watch that whole video that he did.
Yeah. Just
But
watch it. I'm
basically,
I'm gonna post it afterwards.
yeah, but
I want
anyways,
y'all to watch it.
basically he said I should have my merch with me
Mm-hmm.
because 19 Keys is here, Rashad is here, and I don't have my merch. And then I was like, basically like, I was gonna give it to them tomorrow. And he's like, there's no tomorrow. There's only today. There's no tomorrow. What did I do? I didn't take offense. I didn't make any excuses. I said, say less. I
Mm-hmm.
walked my ass, went all the way back downstairs. Mind you, we're up on the rooftop or whatever, whatever. It's raining outside, everything now. I walked my ass back downstairs, 3 blocks to my car in the
Mm-hmm.
rain, bagged up all the merch, walked my ass back upstairs, and then I started, gave it to 19 Keys, gave it to Rashad, to
Mm-hmm.
Troy, to MG the mortgage guy. Um, Alex Good Energy,
Yeah.
to Michael, to Sherrod, basically just gave it to everybody. And
Mm-hmm.
then when I walked back in, I looked across the room and I made eye contact with Michael, and he kind of gave me that look like, okay. And that's what I mean about the actionable part is that I took what he said, didn't take
Mm-hmm.
offense to it. I didn't make excuses for myself. I'm like, this is the founder of Ernie Illusion. He said this is what I should do. I
Yes.
just went and did it. No
Mm-hmm.
ego, no nothing. I just went and did it. And then what happened? I left there, and maybe half an hour later, I started getting messages. Yo, we're at the block. Oh, 19 Keys is rocking your hoodie. And people are sending me messages that 19 Keys has on my hoodie. And then 5 minutes later, I get a DM, and it's
Yeah.
from Michael McDonald. So the co-founder of EYL personally DM me with
Yeah.
12 pictures of 19 Keys wearing the merch. He didn't have to do that. But
Yeah.
because I took the initiative and he's basically showing me without saying it, he's showing me this is what action does. He's like, this is what seizing opportunity does. And then what
Mm.
happens the next day, I open Instagram, I see Rashad's wearing my hoodie. I watch Market Mondays. Rashad's wearing my hoodie on Market Mondays, and this is all back to back, just like that. And
Crazy.
then it's like, and that's just how it goes. So they're just like, yo, stay locked in,
Yeah.
consistency, stay consistent, and then again, I never stop reposting their stuff, sharing their stuff, commenting their stuff,
Hasn't.
and then they're always like reposting my stuff and stuff like that, and it's like
That's
you're
just
getting
how.
familiar.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Exactly. So now when I fast forward back to being in InvestFest now, because I had to really set the stage for why
Yes, yes.
the weekend went the way it went.
That's
So
amazing.
something happened where Troy's hoodie got mixed up with one of the other guys and he didn't get it or whatever. But I was like, don't worry, I got you. So I
Hmm.
made sure to walk with. I had a hoodie for Troy.
Hmm.
I had a hoodie for Michael because another funny story. I was on a live. MG the mortgage guy had a live, and I just
Yeah.
tapped in again because I gave him a shirt, and he was
Hmm.
like, "Appreciate. I'm gonna tag you when I wear it. Enough love or whatever." So I
Yeah.
tap into his live. Who hops on his live? Michael McDonald hops on his live, right? So I make
Diesel.
sure I'm in the comments and I'm like, yo, what's up, Michael? Appreciate the love and support. What happens right away? He's on the live. Oh, my guy. Yo, that's my guy. You guys need to tap in with this brand, the Black Wealth Collective, blah, 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 blah. So he starts basically bigging up my brand on MG the Mortgage Guy's live. He's like, I'm going
Yeah.
to do a video. Stay tuned for the video. That's my guy. And it's just like organic love. So
Hmm.
anyway, he made a comment on the live where he's like, even though he just gave me a t-shirt and I wanted a hoodie, and I'm like, don't worry, I got you. I got you. So fast forward to Investfest. I'm like, okay, first things first, I need to find these guys and give them their stuff. So I
Yeah.
happen to see him, and then he sees, I tap him on the shoulder, and he turns and he sees me, and he's like, yo, my guy. It's like I've known this guy for years. And it's just that
That's so
love
cool.
from whatever. I gave him the hoodie. He's like, oh my guy, I appreciate you. Same
Yeah.
thing. I saw his brother. His
Hmm.
brother's like, oh, it's my guy, whatever, whatever. So all of that is
That's
just from
beautiful.
showing love,
Hmm.
being actionable, and staying consistent. So my weekend ended up being crazy. So again, to get back to the event, the dope part was the vendors. Met a
Yeah.
lot of dope vendors that do anything you can think of.
Hmm.
Got to meet a lot of like all of the IG personalities and like this is Nikki, the content queen. Like she put us on her live with our clothes and stuff like that. Like it
I've
was like
seen her.
it's just opportunities galore. So
Yeah.
come there intentional, come there willing to talk to people, come there willing to make connections, and then just come there open to the energy and whatever presents yourself, just act on everything because things get crazier as the weekend goes on. So now
Yeah.
this is Friday, right?
Mm.
So
That's
I
just
got
Friday, y'all.
this is just Friday. So I got general admission because VIP was I still have it on.
Yeah.
VIP was like $1,800 for VIP US.
Wait. Time out. Time out. So
Yeah,
I was listening to another podcast when they were talking about the prices,
yeah.
and it's what's crazy is that someone was like $300, and I'm like, that's not a lot if it's a whole weekend.
It's a whole weekend.
If it was a day, oh, okay, maybe I'll be like, gosh, my chest
Yeah, yeah.
hurt. But that's the same thing as like going to a concert. Like, look how many people went to Beyonce and things. How much you
E-
spend, right?
Exactly. And I think that's another problem with some of us that we need to get past. It's like,
Mm-hmm.
what's your intention? Like,
Correct.
is $300 too much because you can't afford it,
Mm-hmm.
or is $300 too much because you don't see the value in it? Because value and cost are two different things. So if you're looking at it as, oh, I'm not gonna pay $300 for Earn Your Leisure. Why? What makes Beyonce better than Earn Your Leisure? Is Beyonce teaching you how to make money? Is Beyonce teaching you how to invest? Is Beyonce teaching you how to set up generational wealth? Is Beyonce teaching you how to buy stocks and how to get into real estate? Is Beyonce's platform bringing on people that can change your life in a year? But you pay her the money though. Beyonce's like someone like to say, Beyonce have her $1 billion already. She's good. She's good. So I
Absolutely.
think we need to really change our mindset, and it's something that Rashad always talks about. It's like always put these athletes, and we hail these athletes and
Mm-hmm.
rappers and singers in such high regard as like the big celebrities or whatever. It's like, why don't we have that same regard for people that are actually doing things that are helping real everyday people every day? There's
Exactly.
endless videos and posts from people saying that they followed Ian and started investing and are up 100,000 and two. Like you're not getting that from entertainers. Entertainers are just there for entertainment. And
He's
who
putting your
said it?
Wi-Fi again, yeah?
And who said it? That's our problem. We like to be entertained. So do you want to be entertained or educated? Which
Mm-hmm.
one? Just say that. If you think you don't want to spend $300 on your education, just say that. But don't attack
Exactly.
it like, oh, it's too expensive. Because where else can you go? Some of these people will charge $100,000 to speak. Some of these people will charge $50,000 for an hour one-on-one session. So where else can you go and have all 30, 40, 50 of them in one place for
Exactly.
$300? It's not going to
Yeah.
happen.
And and
Anyway,
and I want to say, like, I agree with you 100%. And let's be honest. Well, cuz I don't know obviously, but $300 for 3 days is not bad. If you want to have the VIP platinum or lifetime thing, cool. If that's within your budget. But
yes.
like, you're still going to be in a room full that you there's what, 20,000 people
Yeah, they
there?
said almost 20. I think it was like 18 and change, but pretty much 20K is the number, the round
Yeah.
number that they're saying.
Like-minded folks that want to soak up the information and stuff. I think that's the reason why I have you here, because I don't want to, like, yes, obviously the lineup for took an hour and stuff. I mean, I've ever seen any event where it doesn't take long to
Yeah,
get into
yeah,
places,
yeah,
but we have to be mindful of how we portray things, and like spreading the negativity when it comes to like personal finance or financial literacy doesn't make sense.
yeah. And again,
Like,
it's 20,000 people. So like you said, it's just like any concert. There's no concert that unless you have the VIP access, you're not just walking into the concert. Like there's gonna be a line. Like there's gonna be a line. So to bring me to that next point of the different VIP and stuff is
mhm,
so at VIP they had like a initial VIP was like 1,800 and that gave you access to like closer seating like in the main stages, and then they had their VIP night, which was like a event they did on the Friday night
mhm,
where I
mhm.
had no idea what was involved with VIP night, but
Yeah.
let the story go on. So anyways, and that's another thing too. VIP, your line is a lot shorter.
Yes.
Like you get to go into different lounges. Like you have access to a lot of stuff. So for me, I'll definitely go that route if I
Mhm.
can. Not if I can afford it, because I will be able to afford it. Because you
Yes.
got to talk that talk.
Ah, ah, ah.
I'll just put it into budget. Eighteen
Yeah.
hundred dollars. If that's the case, I have a year to save whatever that is Canadian, 25, whatever the case may be.
True.
Like
True.
everything else, when you want to save for your trips, when you want to save for whatever, if you want to do it, you can do it. Do I think it's
Mhm.
worth it? I'll say yes, and I'll tell you why in a minute. Like,
Yeah.
luckily for me, again, I made these relationships. So, anyways, Friday's done. The vendor place was like pure madness, dopeness,
Yeah.
or whatever.
Yeah.
So, now I go out, we're eating or whatever, and it's me, my sister, and then one of my friends that's from here was down there as well. So they came along with me because they don't know anybody down there or whatever. Cool. So I'm eating or whatever. This is about nine something. I get a message. Yo, pull up to the VIP. I have some passes. I can get you, and I have some passes. This is Daniel from M2M. So I'm like, you see it there now? I didn't even ask nobody about nothing. And I'm like, all right, dope. I appreciate it. I'm like, there's three of us though, so I don't know. He's like, we'll figure it out. It's all right, cool. I'm like, I'm pulling up. I was
Yeah.
like, say no more. I'm pulling up because
Yeah.
again, I could have been like, you'd be like, I don't want to ask, and then I get to the club and I can't get in, and a lot of us would be like, I'm not gonna bother. But I'm like, no, I'm
Mm.
pulling up. I'm pulling up regardless. Even if I drive there and
Yeah.
don't end up getting in or whatever, I don't know what happens if I get in. So let me pull up.
Exactly.
So I pull up, and as I'm getting close to the venue, I don't see the venue yet. Police are blocking off streets. And
Ah.
them big fets where cars are parked on the grass and everything, like the place is just a zoo, and it's
Suck up.
bare G-Wagons, Maybachs, Rolls Royces, for all kind of it's just a movie. So
Yeah.
anyways, I finally find the park and I'm walking up now. And then I message her. I'm like, okay, I'm about to pull up, and then
Yeah.
no response. So I'm like, oh, here we go, no
Oh,
response.
oh
So I'm like,
shucks. Oh
I get to
shucks.
the front though, and then
Yeah.
now look what happens. Frazul, who I told you about before, that seems to be
Mm-hmm.
connected.
Yes, yes, yes.
I see him, and then Michael McDonald's brother, Vincent, the one that's responsible for the merch. I see
Mm-hmm.
them at the front. And then
Okay.
so I just look over the barrier and I just like acknowledge. I was like, hey, what's going on? Like, you know what I mean? I didn't even say like, come here or nothing. I was just like basically acknowledging that I see them, because that's another thing. Like always, that's another thing I find. Like I feel like we sometimes are too cool and we don't want to walk up to people to acknowledge them, or we see them and then we're
Mm-hmm.
like, oh, well, I'm not gonna say nothing because they didn't come and say anything. I don't want to look like, you know what I mean? Like stop that. Like if there's someone you know or
Yeah.
someone that you're cool with and you
Yeah.
see them, they might not have seen you. Like just
Very
walk
true.
your ass over and say what's up. Like the pride is killing us. The pride and ego is killing us. But anyways, so I was just acknowledging them. I'm like, yeah, just like put my hand up or whatever. And they looked over and saw who it was. And then they
Mm-hmm.
come to the front and they're like, yo, anybody, him and anybody he's with, let them through. Open the barrier.
Oh
I didn't say
shit!
nothing, you know,
What?
no wristband, no nothing, didn't pay no whatever. So he's just like, yeah, they're good, they're good. So now here we go.
Yeah.
Me and then everybody I'm with gets to come into VIP night. And again, that's
Dope.
just from staying solid,
Networking and
networking,
everything,
and just always
creating.
listen. Those guys, I'd pass those guys sometimes during the course of the day. I'd
Yeah.
pass them maybe 10 times, and there's not one time I'd pass them without
Mhm.
saying, "You
Huh.
good? How's the day going?" or whatever. And then every time they dap me up, "Yeah, I'm good. Anything I can help you with? You're good," or whatever, whatever. And it's
Yeah.
just you just gotta show that love. So, anyways, we get into this VIP night, and it's like some next level thing. As soon as we walk in, it's David Banner, it's Lala, it's Ja Rule, it's Jim Jones, it's Aristotle
Jeez.
Investments, it's Justin P, it's Nikki, it's any influencer, even though I don't like the word, but anybody that we think is a person of influence on the platform in
Yeah.
like the financial space or like the any of that stuff, they every single one of their millionaire mindset, melanin money, any one of these things that you can name that you follow,
Yeah.
every single one of them are in there, just walking
Nice.
around freely, free open bar, full spread of like full course meal, like everything. I'm like, oh, VIP, I get it now.
Why would I love
I
that? Yes.
understand. But this is what I'm saying. Because now the VIP, it costs money, yes, but what
Hmm.
it does is it puts you in closer proximity. So, like, say you know you have a business that you want it to grow, or you're trying
Yeah.
to do something and you want it to go to the next level.
Yeah.
Being in VIP, it makes you more noticeable, like, because you're gonna be in more rooms that these guys are in. So it's like you're paying for that exposure and that experience. Because where else are you gonna go?
Yeah.
Where now there's like there had to be almost $1 billion in that place. There had to be. The where else can you go? And they're
Yeah.
just walking around, sipping cocktails, talking to people, taking pictures, whatever. Like it's not gonna. You can't pay for that anywhere for no amount of money, but that 1,800 if you go to the party. Like you know what I mean? So, anyways, we're there. I get separated from my sister. And then I go off and venture into a VIP section that I didn't even know I was supposed to be in. I just walk straight in. And
Yeah.
then somebody sees me in there. Daniel actually sees me in there, and he's like, "How did you get in here? I was having so much trouble getting in here." I'm like, "I just walked like I belong, yo. I just walked in." David Banner's in there, like what's her name? All anyways, anybody you can think of is in there. Like
Yeah.
any of your favorite personalities from Love and Hip Hop and Love and whatever Atlanta, Real Housewives, like all of them people,
We're in
all in the
there.
mix, all in the mix.
Okay.
And
Okay.
then so I come back out, and then my sister's like, "Yo, we just met Pinky Cole. I don't know if you're familiar with Slutty Vegan."
Oh, I've heard that name. You
Okay,
just threw me off for a minute.
so the name of her company is
What?
Slutty Vegan,
I've
and for
heard of
anybody that's
that name.
not
Yes. Yes.
familiar, they say her brand is going to be worth $1 billion within the next 2 to 3 years. Like it's not
Holy
no little play brand. Like she's in Target, she's in Walmart, she's in all kind of
Okay.
stuff. Like first person to have a shoe deal. Like she owns a restaurant but had a
Yeah.
shoe deal. Like where they do that at? Like she's
Wow.
next level. So
Mm-hmm.
anyway, so because I was telling my sister even before we took this trip, I'm like, yo, don't let any opportunity pass, don't whatever. So same thing. She walked over to her, introduced her, And then she
Yeah.
was basically like, yo, we need a slutty vegan in Toronto, or at least a pop-up. What was her
Yeah.
response? That's a dope idea. I've been thinking about that. And then so what my sister say, I'm in events, I can facilitate that, whatever, whatever. What did Pinky Cole say? DM me immediately. She was like,
Yes.
DM me right now. Where
Hey.
else are you gonna get that type of opportunity to do that kind of stuff?
Yeah.
So that was the VIP night, and Ja Rule performed, and Jim
Hmm.
Jones performed, and fireworks are going off. Just it was crazy. I'll post some stuff on my Instagram later, but it
Yes,
was a
sir.
crazy.
Because I've been looking, I was like, yeah. But it's cool. You're still processing everything and all that good
It's
stuff.
I think I when I looked in the phone, I think there's like 750 pieces of content from that weekend, from the clubs to the.
Yeah.
That's another thing. They ran the weekend like a
Mhm.
all-star weekend. There was literally like 5 to 6 different clubs, and
Yeah.
that VIP pass got you
Yeah.
into every club.
All of those.
So for the weekend, you could get into any club that was on that
Mm.
list. You had front row at any of the talks and events. You had access to the VIP night. And like for example, MG the mortgage guy was like he made it an intentional. He was intentional
Yeah.
about introducing himself to every person that was in VIP, because he was like, "Yo, they spent the money, they're supporting us, and then so this is
Exactly.
the visibility that you get by being in VIP because they're gonna notice you because you're
Mm-hmm.
in their closer proximity than the general admission." So you have to think like sometimes it sounds expensive, but if you could spend $2,500 but
Mm-hmm.
then be in the same room as 19 Keys or Diddy or Jeezy or someone, and
Yeah.
they take your thing and love it, and then now all of a sudden you have $100,000 deal or $1 million deal. Is it worth the $2,500? Of course it is.
Absolutely.
But the only way you get to do that or have that possibility is you have to set yourself up for success. Like you can't always be like, oh, I'm gonna wait and see if this and wait and see if that. You have to take action. If you know there's a way to get in a room, pay
Facts.
the price and get
Mm.
in the room. You
And
might not get
take
anything out of
action.
it, but you might get everything out of it. Because even
Yeah.
all these networking events we're going to, it was very intentional. I'm like, yo, wherever these people are at, I need to get familiar. And I just got familiar and more familiar and more familiar
Yeah.
until like they see me and they know exactly who I am. And
Exactly.
again, what do I have? 700 followers on my page. It's not like I'm big time doing nothing crazy
Hey,
out here, whatever, whatever. It's just,
don't doubt yourself. You're doing big things and you actually support
yeah,
and
yeah.
stuff, right?
Yeah, no, definitely. I don't say it to downplay myself, but I'm saying it to the people that think that, oh, I
True.
need to be at this level first and then I'm going to this. No,
Facts.
just everything you can do, just do it now. And then
Mm-hmm.
whatever you doesn't work, then that's a lesson that you use to move forward. Like we're so afraid of when I set it up, when I get my website built, and then the packaging comes
It's
perfectly, and I can
perfect.
afford the silk screen on the this and that, and like life don't work like that. There's never gonna be a perfect time. There's always gonna be a holdup. Because guess what? You're gonna get the perfect packaging. The
Mm-hmm.
website's gonna be up, and then
Yep.
there's something that's gonna happen that you didn't foresee that's gonna prevent you anyways, or not.
Exactly.
But it's like my point is you can't plan, just like you can't plan for what's going to come up. You can't limit what you can do based on, oh, well, I feel that, like, you know what I mean? If you're a person that does a podcast, well, I only have 59 subscribers, so I'm not going to try to get a 19 keys on my podcast because I'm not big enough yet. Shoot
Ah.
the shot. Be like, this is what I do on my podcast. I'd love to have you on. Even if it was for 10 minutes, I'd really appreciate it. And you never know. Like sometimes they're just in that mood where they have 10 minutes and they're gonna do it. And then that could bring you from the 100 subscribers to 1,000 subscribers overnight. But you don't know if you don't do it. When we were at that networking event,
Yeah.
Rashad was doing interviews outside.
I saw it after. I was like,
Yeah.
that's what hurts. And I the one thing I love about you is that you are confident and you're willing to take action no matter what. You're like, no, they're here. Why not? And that's one thing I have to, stop
Yeah.
overthinking about. And
Yep.
when I seen those interviews, I was like, Cam, all you needed was a camera
Yep, yep,
and a mic,
yep, yep. That's it.
right? And then
That's it.
especially your sister was there, so big up your sister. I am going to ask you to type her information so I could post it as well.
Okay,
But
dope.
definitely have having someone with you makes your life easier
100%.
when it is making content and stuff, and then also building that relationship, like,
Yep, for sure. Because
definitely
people,
needed.
for sure, because people had seen, because she was wearing the merch too. So like some people didn't know if we were a couple or what was going on, but they just saw like they're like, oh, the matching hoodies, that's hard, or the matching shirts, that's hard, or whatever. So it just brings more attention. It just brings more attention to everything. And then she was off
Exactly.
doing her own thing. I'd be off doing my own thing. So she's there repping the brand in another part of the place while I'm over here repping it over here. So divide and
Dope,
conquer or work
dope,
together.
dope,
But
dope.
so
Absolutely.
yeah, that's just Friday. Saturday is when the speaking started, and I'll
Hmm.
address like some of the people are talking about, oh, the audio was bad or this, that, and the third. It was in a big, gigantic auditorium. So yeah,
Yes.
if you're standing at the back, you're gonna get some of the echo and stuff because you're all the way in the back where everything is echoing. If you were up closer and like was
Mhm.
intentional about getting a seat up closer or whatever, you could
Yeah.
hear fine because you're right by the
Mm.
speakers and stuff. But like if you're way in the back, then yes, it's an auditorium. It was echoing. I'm sure they'll figure out a way to make it better or whatever. But again, what I realized from the weekend is that the speakers and stuff were cool, but the big draw was really in the networking and all of the people that were just there to like
Fair enough.
be in the moment. And it's like I honestly only maybe saw like maybe 4 or 5 other talks out of all of that big list of everybody they
Yes.
had. I maybe only saw like 4 or 5 of them because I was so busy in the
Hmm.
marketplace meeting people and interviewing people and talking to people and stuff like that that I just started
Didn't
missing
have.
all of this stuff, and I was just like, this is just I'm just going with the moves, like however it goes.
So with that, would you say, because you know what? I don't even think that is just them in general. That is any freaking conference. Like, I remember going to an accounting conference, and yo, there's like five things happening at the same time, and I'm like, I can't catch them all, but I'm
Yeah,
gonna
yeah,
try to do something, right? So like, I think that is something people don't realize with conferences. There's numerous things happening at all at once that you're gonna have to just, schedule yourself on which ones are are the ones that you want to see.
yeah,
Um, so that's one thing. I think that's for folks to be mindful about.
yeah,
And trust me, because I get annoyed too with that. Like, even I've even been on virtual ones where it's like, yo, go into this room or that room. I'm
yeah,
like,
yeah, yeah,
but I want to be in all of them. But
yeah,
if your purpose is to network, then it's fine to miss some speakers. But I guess if your purpose is to hear the secret sauce
yeah,
from
yeah,
these individuals, then yeah, sure. You have to figure out the time to do that. But at the same time, like we said, networking across, I think what some people expected was to get the master plan
yes,
of what the billionaire has done. And
yes,
it's
yes. And the thing is, and that's another thing, like you have to be realistic too. It's like these people, I'm trying to figure out the best way to say this. Anyways,
not say it, say
what I basically
it.
say is you have to pick up on the clues. Like there's not gonna be a okay, here's what I need everybody to do today. Go, and then what you're gonna do is go on this website and you're
Yep.
gonna apply for this specific product, and then
Hmm.
here's how you fill out the form, and then when the
Hmm.
form is filled out, then you take that to this person in this office and what that like it doesn't work like that. Like
That's how people want it.
when you're dealing with people at that level,
Hmm.
you have to pay attention to the details of the things that they're telling you. So, for example, like you'll hear Rashad talk about how when they interviewed Robert Smith the first time, this is the
Hmm.
richest man, the richest black man in America.
Yes.
He came to the interview early on a Friday, and he was half an hour early on a Friday in a three-piece suit versus the entertainers are different people that might have interviewed that show up late, aren't prepared, or whatever, whatever.
Mhm.
So you might
Mhm.
think that that's insignificant, but the lesson there is the person that's worth $8 billion is always early, not on time,
Mhm.
early,
Mhm.
always early. He has a disciplined schedule, and he always shows up as the best representation of himself, dressed well, ready to go. Doesn't matter if it has to be 7:30 in the morning, 6 o'clock in the morning, ready
Yeah.
to go. So why
Mhm.
do you, as someone whose life is in shambles, think it's okay to be 10 minutes late, 30 minutes late, or it's not that important, or whatever the case may be? And this is the stuff that goes over people's heads because they
Yeah.
don't want to be accountable. If you
Mm.
look at Diddy's story, same thing. Like, yeah, you guys always hear about, oh, he messed over his artists and this and the third, and you love to run with that. Why do
Yeah.
you like to run with that? Because you like gossip. You like to be entertained. What does that do for you and
Mhm.
your life and business to talk about an entertainer you don't know? You don't know the ins and outs of the business. You didn't read
Mhm.
the contract. And again, I'm not defending it because I didn't read the contract either. But I'm saying,
Yeah.
as us both not reading the contract, why am I going to jump to this conclusion? Like, I wasn't there. I wasn't there. So
Yeah.
why am I going to focus on, oh, he's a bad businessman? How do you get to $1 billion as a bad businessman? And so I think we need to stop with all of the being distracted by what people like
Mm.
to push on social media and the entertainment and the drama side of things, and
True.
listen to the fact that he slept on the floor. He was an intern. He had to beg for his opportunity to bring Mary J. Blige to be heard by, you know, the other executives to get a position as an intern, and then
Mm.
didn't sleep every day and did all of this stuff to even get an opportunity to to work for free. To work for free, you did all this work to even be an intern. Why are you not talking about
Jeez.
that? And these are the nuances that we miss. That's the
Yeah.
lesson. That's how
Yeah.
you get to your success, is by
Mhm.
listening to what they've done to get there. They're not going to tell you, yeah, buy this stock, wait for it to get to 2 cents, and then what you do is go to the secret back door, and there's a guy that can give you the underground to the, like, that's not realistic. So we have to
Right.
be realistic with what it is we're looking for and be
Mhm.
mindful of where we are in our journey. Could you
Yeah.
imagine them trying to be able to tell 20,000 people how to be successful and they're all in a different place in their life? Does that make
True.
sense?
True. Cause then you have to be realistic. Like, we're gonna hear it, but are we gonna execute it at that time?
Exactly.
And
Exactly.
and you know what? And I'm not a saint.
Of
I,
course, none of us
when you
are.
when you said don't be 10 minutes late, I'm like, mm. But at the same time, I know there's certain habits that are important and some that have to be put to a hold. And I did, not you, but another person was able to show me, like, their experience as well. Um, there was, I don't remember the gentleman's name, but he was saying instead of having a to do list, have a stop it list.
I see, I
As
missed that talk. See,
shucks,
I missed that
I'll
talk.
send you.
Yeah, yeah.
But it was like, there are habits that we have that are hindering our success.
Yes.
I'm not saying it word to word, but if
Yeah.
there are habits that we have in our life that is hindering our success, that you need to start focusing on those habits that hinder you, instead of like having so many things to
Oh
do.
yes, yes. Who was that? I did hear this talk. They're basically talking about how sometimes you might have a list of like 5 things that are your core principles or whatever, and how sometimes you
Yes.
cut off a couple of them and focus on the 3 that you're actually getting the results. So yep. I don't remember who it was, but yes, yes, I did hear that. But again,
Yes.
even something like that, it sounds simple, but real talk, like, you think you're doing the best thing. Again, this is not a knock to anybody because we're all doing what we feel is best in most cases. But then you
Mm-hmm.
have to be able to be accountable and look at yourself and say, okay. And again, this is a harsh one that people don't like sometimes. That I heard one of my mentors back in the day, someone told him,
Mm.
he said his mentor took him to the bank machine, right?
Yeah.
because
Oh,
apparently my mentor like was feeling all hype. He's like, "Yo, I made 100K or whatever, whatever, whatever. I'm on my way. I made it or whatever the case may be." And then his mentor basically was telling him, "No, you need to do this or whatever." But he was on some, "Nah, I got it figured out. I did this and this, right?" So he said, "All right, let's go to the bank, basically, right?" And then
gosh.
he was like, print out your, your checking account or whatever. Print out your statement to the checking account. He printed it out, and then he was like, you see that number there? He's like, that is the results of all of your best ideas you've ever had in your life. And he said at the time it was like just a couple of $1,000, and how his mentor obviously had like millions of dollars in his account. And then
Why
so
you
he
about to
said,
do him like that though?
but this is the harsh truth, like some people need. Like, you think you're this, you don't want to listen because you know. And I'm saying, by all means, do your
Yes.
thing, but at some point you always have to evaluate yourself. Okay, how has it been going?
Yeah.
Have I gotten where I want to be? Is it
Mm.
working? Is it not working? Okay, what's not working? And like you said, what's not working? Maybe I need to cut some of those out and then put more interest, more emphasis into the ones that are working. And
Yeah.
then stop being so like, I don't know. It's like we just don't want to admit that we're not good at something. We don't want to admit that we're wrong and then we need to pivot into something else. Like, it's a fine line though. There's a fine line between being consistent and like being stubborn.
True, true. No, you're absolutely right. Cause and you said it too, like the pride or ego thing. It really, yo. There's a couple things like pride, ego, and maybe even greed are
Yep.
probably the couple things that really will taint your success.
Yep. Yep.
Like
Yep.
once you're able to like really have control of that, then you're like, okay. And then actually listening to what your mentors say, like, trust me, like I've had my mentor say, like, don't you think you should get out of that play? A
Yeah.
win is a win. And I'm
Yeah.
like, yeah, but
Mm-hmm.
so and I think it's really important to listen to folks that have been in that same environment and take in consideration on what they say.
Yep. Absolutely. Like, that's the biggest thing that I've learned. It's like, get a little bit of light, but yeah,
Yeah.
be a good student, especially if you're seeking out mentorship. That's like the one thing, like, mentors want people that are good students. Being a good student means that you can take criticism,
Mm-hmm.
you can be a good listener, you don't listen to respond, and that you will actually take action. Like, you have to, yeah, exactly, coachable. That's the word I was looking for. Be coachable. Be
Mm-hmm.
coachable. You're going to these people for help, and they're trying to tell you what you should be doing, and then you don't want to do it. Like, you're wasting everybody's time.
I had to message someone after this. I'm like, I hear what you're saying. I hear you and all
Yeah.
that good stuff. It's true. And but I'm glad that like your purpose of Investfest was your intentions were to be able to work around the people that are
Yeah.
there and really building those relationships to be able to you were able to get access to things that others couldn't because they didn't take the opportunity to build those relationships. So that's really dope and stuff.
Yeah.
And how about what was it? I don't. So Diddy was Saturday, and he gave.
Diddy, yeah, Diddy was Saturday.
Did he? And then all of a sudden, I see him give a check away. What?
Yeah,
What is
yeah,
this?
yeah. He gave a $1 million check to EYL. I didn't remember exactly what it was for because again, I missed some of it. Like, I was
Oh,
in
okay.
there listening and I was like, okay, this is dope. And I was like, I'm missing all the action over on the other side. So I was like walking around, moving around, and then
Mhm.
I knew they were gonna have a replay. So I
Okay.
think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get the replay so I can actually
Just to
sit down and like really
take
go
it in.
through and take notes
True.
and take it in because that environment was like, it was crazy. It was a dope environment, but a lot of energy, a lot of stuff going on or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But
I like how you said take notes. Boom.
yeah,
That's important as well. Um,
but real notes though, because a lot of people take notes and never look at it again. Like, let's be for real. I'm guilty of it too. I find them all the time, like notes that I took at this thing, and then I never even went and looked back at it after I wrote them.
you right,
That's
you
why
right, you right. I'm looking
sometimes,
at something.
yep, sometimes the action is even more important than the notes. And even while we're even on this whole conversation too, for a
Mm-hmm.
quick second too, because this is something that's I heard and that's really stuck with me, is
Yeah.
this notion of motivation. Like I wonder what everybody feels about motivation and the word motivation. Because I used to always like post it a lot and be like, yeah, motivated, be motivated. And then I saw, I don't know if I was watching David Shan's podcast, but I don't know, I was watching some podcast and it was
Yeah.
somebody I follow, and they said something along the lines of motivation is like a false feeling, like it's a false sense of doing something or something to that effect. Basically what
Interesting.
he was saying was, and how I rephrased it so that I remember it is like I say now, I'm like motivation is like a false feeling that fades away. And what I mean by that is it's a
Hmm.
moment, like you feel motivated in this moment, but motivation comes and goes. And that's why I
Mm-hmm.
think consistency and discipline is more important, because if you're disciplined and consistent, whether you're motivated or not, you're always going to be doing that thing that's pushing you forward. So you don't have to rely on motivation, because your consistency is what moves you forward. It's not your motivation. The motivation is like a temporary feeling that you have.
I agree.
So it's like you need to worry more about being consistent and being disciplined, because even when you're feeling lazy, when you're in a bad mood, when you don't feel motivated or had a bad day or whatever the case may be, if you're disciplined enough to do what you're supposed
Mm-hmm.
to do, you're still going to be working towards those goals. And that's your consistency. That's what gives you your gains in the gym, right? It's not who feels motivated to go to the gym every day. Nobody. I don't care who you are. Nobody. But those that are serious still go, because
Yeah.
that's their discipline. And they get to their gains because they're disciplined to know that if they don't go every day, they're not going to
They're
get
not
the
going to see the
results.
results.
So it's their
This,
discipline that gets them the results, not their motivation.
yeah. I
Yeah.
I I agree with that 10 toes down. I actually been hearing discipline has been the thing that I've been hearing often, and I know that that's like the key of getting the success that you want. Because yeah, you could be motivated, and what happens when you're not motivated that day? You're just gonna be like, I don't feel like doing shit. But
Yep.
at least when you are like, oh, fuck, I don't want to do this, but it's something that I'm accustomed to. I have the discipline. F it. I'm just gonna push through and do it. That I am working towards that
Yep.
because I know how important it is. And I at least I know, like, with consistency with this platform, I know that I'm good. I just need that to be in different areas
Areas.
as well,
Yep.
so I can see the results, because that is important. um I'm glad you mentioned that, because I think, people are like, oh, I want to meditate and be motivated to do this. Nah, how about meditate to be disciplined for something, or
Yep.
meditate to be consistent? Like, actually, I heard something this week. For 7 days, meditate, meditate for like 10-15 minutes, and then write down in a journal of what's going to make you want to push through to have a great day and stuff.
Okay.
So
That sounds
definitely,
dope.
I'm going to try it tomorrow.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
And then I'll tell you how it goes for the next 7. Actually, I'll even make it like a challenge, like to do it for the rest of the month and stuff, because yeah, it's like some are soon done,
Yep.
and I'm sad and stuff. And I could even see the sun is now down and
Yeah.
shit.
Like it's dark. I'm dark, but it's
Don't
okay.
worry,
You
they
can see the
seen you
message.
before.
Yeah. But and even that, you see how you just said I'm gonna try? I've been working on getting rid of that word
Try
completely. And
and
it's
will.
so hard. It's so hard. But
Yeah,
trust me, the power in the words, like you have no idea.
that's
Like
very
your
true.
subconscious and stuff, you have no idea. So now it's like I'm not
Try is
trying to
not
do
in
anything.
it.
I'm either doing it or I'm not doing it. I'm not
Exactly.
trying it. I'm either doing it or I'm not doing it.
I am going
Period.
to do it.
Exactly.
And all that stuff. And then I will, you know what? And then it's just because, like, normally people see me posting consistently and stuff. And even, like, if they don't see me do something, they're like, what
What's up
happened?
with that? Yeah, 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 yeah.
And even with you, like, even I was like, wait, I gotta check on him. I know life is lifing, but let
Yep,
me
yep,
check because if I don't see you post within 24 hours, I'm
yep,
concerned.
yep, yep, yep.
Right? So, like, especially like that for folks that are listening and all that good stuff. Make sure you check on your friends that you see them doing something consistently, and if they aren't doing it, check on them
For
because that
sure.
means something
Something
not
had to
right,
have happened, yep, for them to be
right?
off of that. 100%.
That's something I'm trying. I want to be more mindful of that type of things, and be able to reach out. So, like, and just supporting, and I want to support more, especially the folks in Toronto, because there's no reason why we shouldn't be able to support each other as much as people support in the States. Like,
100%. And that was the big takeaway. Like the love out there was just different, man. Like,
mm,
and I hear you from Canada, and that was the other thing that was crazy that I didn't
yeah,
touch on. Like, there was a lot of people there from Toronto. Like, I would go around to different booths and be like, "Yeah, I came out here from Toronto," and they're like, "What's up with you Toronto people? I've been meeting so much people from Toronto," and I'm like, "Really?" And they're like,
we
"Yeah."
out here,
Yeah. But even
especially in
that,
Vancouver.
it was such a weird space. And obviously I'm not gonna call out nobody, but there were
Mhm.
things where like there were group chats of like 40, 50 people, like little pockets of people from Toronto that were there. And it was still
Really?
like this weird thing where it was like everybody was there, but like still not linking up. It's like we're all here, we're all in, so it's like there's something up in our city that we need to get past,
I told
and it's
yo,
like I don't know what it is because it's like there was a lot of us there,
yeah,
but there was enough there that we could have been making all kind of noise in the place, but everybody was still kind of. That's why like
stush.
M2M. I have to again take my hats off to M2M because
Yes.
they went so hard for the city. Like they were the only booth. I think there was one other booth there, like a
Hmm.
shea butter company. I forget what the name was,
Nice.
O'Shea or something like
Yeah.
that. But anyways, that was
Hmm.
there.
Yeah.
But besides that, like it was only our booth that was Toronto, and then so we're out there. Like they had their manifestation stacks of money, and I don't know if
I
you saw the
seen
thing
that.
I sent you. They were
I
showing
saw your
money,
post.
and just like we were out there, like we're out at the clubs, we're out every night, like,
Yes.
and it's like, yo, I'm
It's
I'm I'm trying to work on something for Investfest next year.
I'm
So
excited. I'm excited to
something that
hear.
has to do with Canada having a bigger presence. So
Okay, okay. And I'm gonna be there. I'm gonna be there next year, I guarantee. Is there any vendors that you saw or met that you want to give a shout out, or like anything that like what bef- that any vendors that you want to shout out, and then also one big takeaway from the event.
oh man, there was so many vendors. I can't even do it. I'm gonna have to like when you post this, I'm gonna
Yeah.
come in and like tag a bunch of them. So
Yes,
whenever this
yes, yes.
posts, I'm
Tag
gonna
them,
tag a
tag
bunch of
them.
them because I met so many dope ones and I don't want to leave any of them out. I'm even gonna start reposting some of the interviews. But
Yeah.
again, I think the one obviously that sticks out the most is I just want to shout out M2M, man. Like they're young from
Toronto
Toronto
repping.
and they were like networking with like some big dogs. Like I'm talking about some 100 millionaires, some like M2M, Daniel
Jeez.
Twee, like they're
Yeah.
really out here, and M5V and them, like they were out here. Like you wanted, like they were the Toronto representation for that weekend
Mm.
because they're the ones that were with EYL at every function in their sections, rolling around town with them in the sprinter vans or whatever. So They
Yeah.
were our real representation for the city. So I want to salute them for that. And I know we're
Nice.
just going to keep on having a bigger presence down there. My biggest takeaway from
Mm-hmm.
the event was that we as a people are amazing. And if we're willing to work together and connect, we're unstoppable. We can do anything. There was two or three billionaires that were black in one building. Probably never happened before, and probably won't happen again unless EYL does it.
Yeah.
I saw more wealth, more black wealth in one place than you'll probably
Mm.
ever see anywhere else. And
Nice.
that's because they all support each other. EYL supports all of these different guys, circle of CEOs. That was my
Mm-hmm.
biggest takeaway. The guys that have a click that
Yeah.
are doing it were the biggest and most successful. So my biggest takeaway is that we need to get together and start moving how they move because we have the talent, we have the opportunity. We just have to start putting in that work and being intentional.
That and collaboration is key.
Collaboration is key.
Mm. Wait. Oh, wait. Because I want to big up Robert F. Smith. You know, last name Smith, so you gotta big up
Okay.
the Smiths.
Okay.
And we're not gonna talk about the Bacchanal with Steve Harvey because I felt like that was a distraction. What did you enjoy that conversation, or were you able to see that conversation?
I missed it. And
Ah,
I heard it was the best one. Like people were coming out of there
dang.
people were
Yeah,
coming out of there saying they had chills. Like my sister sat in on it, and my
yeah.
friend sat in it,
I
and
did watch it too. I
yeah,
did catch it. The audio was a because
yeah,
of like who taped it and stuff.
yeah,
So
yeah,
I
yeah,
definitely want to look for one like with better audio. But yeah,
yeah,
it was. I saw them standing up and everything, so it was really
yeah.
dope to see that. And dang, like that's
It's different. And again, and I guess, and even before that, the last thing I want to say again, we need to stop with the tearing things down because even though I'm watching Market Mondays and there's like some guy in there like, oh, for that kind of money, the audio should have been better. My friend said that you weren't even there. If you weren't there, first of all, you're not qualified to speak on it.
oof,
And I'll just say that straight like that.
preach.
You weren't
Yeah.
there. You're not qualified to speak on it. And if you
Mm,
were there and didn't get what you were looking from it, I think
yeah.
that's on you because if out of 20,000 people, you can only find 100 people talking negatively about it, that should tell you something. And something you also have to be mindful of, that was
Mm,
the biggest meeting of Black financial, like, you know what I mean, like that was the
yeah.
biggest meeting of black people in finance. Of
Nice.
course there's going to be scrutiny. You think they want us congregating together with multi-billionaires and
Say it
100
again.
millionaires and 10 millionaires? Who
Say it
wants that?
again.
They don't. Nobody wants that but us. So you think that's going to happen without somebody trying to downplay it or try to make it like, don't go for the drama, stop being entertained, be educated, and again, do your own diligence. Like there's nobody. That was one of the most powerful things that Diddy said. He said that I've seen the other side of the hill and there's
Mm-hmm.
nobody coming to save you. He's like, I've made it to the top and seen over the hill, and there's nobody coming to save us. There's nobody coming to save us. So stop playing victim and stop blaming your life on everything else when you're not doing everything you can be doing. You're not doing everything you can be doing. If you're doing everything you can be doing and you're still struggling, then you need a better circle. You need
Mm-hmm.
to have some humility and seek help. There's people that can help. You need to get your ego out the way, get your pride out of the way. Like there's people out here willing to help. There's people out here that have done it,
Mm-hmm.
signed, sealed, delivered, proven, all the receipts. So it's not impossible. But
Yeah.
nobody's coming to save you. So stop with the victim thing. Yes, we're victims of all of that. I'm not downplaying oppression. I'm not downplaying the systematic racism, the things that are in place. But the fact of the matter is, they're in place. So now what? Bow down or rise up and be everything you can be. That's your choice. That's not somebody else's choice. Nobody else gets to choose your life for you. It's you.
Fudge.
I like to leave with that.
Bars. Bars. Dale. I know the folks can't see you that's in the chat now,
Yeah, it's
but
all good. Let me
it's
come to
all
the
good.
light a
It's
bit.
all
I'll come to the light
so,
a bit.
man, how can the folks find you? How can the folks find you?
I'm most active on Instagram, The Black Wealth Co. Hit me up on there, DM me, whatever. I'm open to always anything. If there's anything I feel like I can help you with, or if you have a business that you want to post, whatever it is, however small or big, like I might know somebody. Like the other day, somebody was looking for a photographer and a DJ and stuff for an event.
Yeah.
Like I know some people, so
Hey.
I'm always down to just work within our community. We have everything. We don't need nobody to do nothing for us. We just need each other. So tap into that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And yo, folks, trust me, contact, like, obviously it's going to be in the show notes and all that good stuff. And if you're on our IGs, yo, they will hail you up, you know. You want your things to be shown and stuff, they will hail you up, trust me. But it also is a give and take, everything, you know, showing love. And like we said before, supporting is everything, and it's free.
Yep,
And
yep.
all that good stuff, right? But I know you're in the dark, and I don't want you to be in the dark. I want you to be shining in the light and all that great stuff. And Dale, thank you again. Obviously, I really wanted to have this conversation. This is why all y'all are seeing me at this time. I was like, I don't care. I'm gonna wait.
Yeah,
I will wait. And it was well worth it. Whenever we like are seeing each other and stuff or talking, it's always a great vibe. It's always a great conversation, and I appreciate you, and I want to show you the flowers with everything. So
I appreciate you even more. Always love.
And best believe that we will link up soon.
100%.
Folks, and I'm gonna tell you a next event that's happening, but I do want to go to that event, the September 17th one.
Oh, 17th, there's another one. I saw one, there's one on the 8th as well. I forget what it's called. 8th? Yeah, Black Friday or something. It's called BLK Friday or something.
Okay.
Anyways, I'll have to send you the thing.
So make sure we link up. There's a couple that are happening. September 20th, I have to broadcast it. September 20th, I'm going to be at a networking event as well. Young and Eglinton, frequency event promotions, big up. And yeah, make sure y'all like, subscribe, comment, and all that good stuff. And let's connect together. You know, we're stronger together than alone. And all 100%. That good stuff. Right? So thank you again, Dale. Big up yourself. And we're gonna get out of here because we have a long weekend. I'm going to be low key. I'm chilling like not chilling like a villain, but chillaxing and all that good stuff. Yeah. But I hope you have a great weekend, and everyone else, stay safe.
Yeah, I'm gonna be working on getting them hoodies online because people have been asking for the hoodies, so they're coming.
Sick.
Stay tuned to the page.
So comfy. Done. No. All right, folks. Until next time. All right. Peace and love.
Financial literacy, knowledge is a must. So link the flip boss, watch the result flash, and watch your life change. And for your better cause, you have a business or a plan and want to make it. Yeah, flip and floss, are they want to manifest it. Yeah, and if you want to better manage all your credit, call the boss, flip and floss, no doubt, then we do it. Yeah, flip and floss, money literacy boss. Yeah, greatness in our blood because you're working for your cause. Flip and floss, money literacy boss. Yeah, boots up your knowledge for your minimal cost. Hey, yeah, flip and floss, money literacy boss. Greatness in our blood because you're working for your cause. Flip and floss, money literacy boss. Yeah, up your knowledge for your minimal cost.